A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to talk about the combination of Mars and Venus. Mars and Venus are very attractive planets. Why so? Because both of them talk about beauty and passion. But before we begin, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your suggestions and your comments there. If you haven't written to us, please do, and do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. When I talk about Mars, I know that it is energy and passion personified. Mars is the planet of logic and maths is the planet that is charismatic. On the other hand, when we talk about Venus, it denotes knowledge and beauty. Not only that, Venus also talks about talent. Mars also talks about having the ability to showcase, to show off. So these are the Karakatwas, just a handful of them that we are going to take at the moment. When we talk about the houses of the Kalpurush Kundali, we get 4 combinations because Mars owns 2 houses, 1 and 8, that is Aries and Scorpio, and Venus owns 2 houses also, the 2nd and the 7th, that is Taurus and Libra. These are very basic elements that we are taking because when we look into the basics and when we can do the basics well, they too give us a lot of information through which prediction becomes easy. So, keeping the focus on the houses and the Karakatwas only, if we take up the combinations and we work on them, let's see what we can understand from them. When we take the 1-2 combination, we find that the person can be self-made because the 2nd house also talks about your money. So, you can be working really hard, you have the knowledge because Venus and 2nd house both denote knowledge, and this gives you an ability and the charisma and the strength to become a very prominent person in society. You apply your brains logically, you work on things very well. Money and money, 2nd house and 8th house. So, a person knows how to handle money, not just your own money, but the money that belongs to others and can invest properly, can get a lot of funds out of it. Such people have the ability to work in the areas of information, such people have the ability to invest in insurance, provident funds and make good money out of it. They are very careful, very logical about their investments and what they reap for them. When we talk about the family aspect, such people have the ability to treat their in-laws also as their own family members. But when we are talking about 2 and 8, other things also turn up. What are those things? They can be relationships which are hidden from others, and they can be families which are not legally yours, but you have adopted, or you have families outside marriage also. It also talks about the Marakasthana because 2-8 combination or a 7-8 combination is definitely talking about your health issues, and you can have health issues which can be very chronic in nature and it can take some time for you to come out of it. It can also show an addiction for luxuries of life because Venus is luxury, Mars is passion, Mars is addiction also, in the sense that it talks about where are you putting in your energies. So, such people need to be very aware of that fact. Mars can also give you a show of nature, and with Venus you're good looking, you're very charismatic, wherever that you go you can become the center of the party, and you also want to carry yourself in a manner such that people turn their heads when you walk by. This is a very strong symbol that you see of Mars and Venus because it talks about clothes, the 2nd house and the Lagna you. So, a good dresser, if it is very exaggerated, then probably a dandy dresser also. When we talk about the 7th house and the 8th house combination. So what is it that we can get? We can get that such people can have lots of money, that such people can have a persona which on a public level is one, and one which behind the public level or behind closed doors is another, because the 8th house is the house of secrecy. So as I said earlier, there can be relationship issues in marriage and there can be extramarital affairs also. But because 1 and 7 are also connected, you can also feel a very strong sense of partnership, a charisma, a love and attraction towards your own partner. Such people can play the field all way round. When we talk about the Karakatwas, that's one of the very beautiful things, because we also need to see which house they represent. For example, both Mars and Venus, they represent one particular house. They're together, which is that? The 4th house. Mars stands for landed property and Venus stands for luxuries. Venus stands for cars. So, such people, if they have their Mars and Venus well placed together in conjunction or in each other's nakshatra, where they have a very strong bond, then we would find that these people would go in for opulent homes or cars, and they have a love for speed, because Mars also denotes speed. So these are just a few things that we are able to make out when we talk about taking just 4-5 Karakatwas each and combining the houses. When we talk about basics, basics have to come from houses, planets and signs. Let's take up a chart here. The chart that I take up here is of Arjun Rampal, a very well known actor and a model of the Bollywood industry. The Lagna is Libra, and on Libra Lagna we would find that Mars and Venus, that is the Lord of 1, 7, 8 and 2 all sitting together. That's exactly what we see, and we see he is very charismatic. We also see that he has had a very strong attraction to his wife, and then he is also moved on to other relationships during and after marriage, and even after divorce he has had 2 children with his girlfriend. We also find that he's attracted people around him. The very fact that he's a model has been because he's very good looking, fond of opulence. When we talk about the 8th house addiction with Mars and Venus, he himself has confessed that he is addicted to drinking, and that has been one of his downfalls. The list that Mars and Venus can give us is endless, but if you want to go deep down, you can also look into the nakshatra of Mars and Venus, and they will also have their own story to tell. For example, when we see the position of Mars, it is in Swati and Venus is also in Swati. Both of them are together in that nakshatra of Swati, giving him very strong love, giving him a love for perfumes, giving him a love for speed, giving him a voice that is booming and attractive too. And Vayu's nakshatra. So Vayu is something that is everywhere, having speed, having many relationships, which is what we see happening in his chart also. Basically, we can do reading on many levels, be it basic, be it nakshatra on a higher level, but the fact is that until and unless we know the Karakatwas and the basics, it's difficult to move on to the different levels. Till we meet with you again, stay safe and do write into us. Let us know how you found this video. Thank you. बेल आइकन को दबाएं ताकि आपको वीडियोस की अपडेट मिलती रहे। हमारे वीडियोस को लाइक करें, शेयर करें, उन पर कमेंट करें और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना न भूलें।